New York Magazine is doing it again. They're making it seem like mom regret is the norm and that you shouldn't have kids. Let's get into it.
Single mom, I hate it. I never wanted this life, and I really just hate it with every bone in my body. She gets on my nerves, and I can't wait until she's older. I wish I could leave her with my parents and move away, but they aren't able to take care of her fully. I don't believe in abortion for myself, or I would have done that. I hate my life, every single part, and I can't tell anyone without feeling judged.
Before we go further, my name is Casey. I'm a husband, father, and I've been a counselor for more than a decade, and that's how I know that this anti-natalist movement is really getting to folks, because I see it every darn day. If you would, please like the video on the way in. Let's get into exactly what New York Magazine said about why they regret, or these three moms at least regret having kids.
Stands 10 toes down on the fact that I regret motherhood.
I regret being a parent. Now, before you come for me, please hear me out.
No, I am not giving you a safe place to talk about how you don't want to be a mother.
And there are many people talking about those who leave these comments online anonymously.
You have to have kids to have a life that's worth living. You gotta have so many kids.
This is coming from an article on New York Magazine called The Cut, and I want to read directly from some of the quotes that are embedded in it and give some refutation of exactly what it is that we're actually dealing with here. The first quote, and some of the most shocking ones that I'll pull from the article. The first quote says, "Everyone who wanted me to have a child knew that they weren't going to lose much, while my freedom and identity went down the toilet." This is the line that has probably been the most circulated, and I just want to give a little bit of a philosophical reason why this is so painfully inaccurate. Now, it is adaptively normal as humans for us to invest paramount in our children, invest fervently in our children, and when we have them, we do sacrifice part of ourselves and our identity in order that we would care for them and bring them up into the world in a way that they would thrive. That is simply true, but it is also, this young lady, God bless her, is looking at it in the opposite way of what would be normal or what we would think would be the best for us. And that is, when you lose that piece of your identity, very, very often, we are cleaving off parts of ourselves that we should deliver into the void and never bring back, like my propensity towards bad behavior, the addictions, the things that I shouldn't be pursuing. And if we're talking about, quite simply, just losing time on our phone or our identity on social media, those are things that we should sacrifice. And ultimately, that purpose and that meaning that comes along with having that intimate time with your kids is so much better of an identity forming activity than anything we would be doing if we were on our own. Now, travel is one thing you'll sacrifice, brunches, drinking alcohol, all of these things do reduce over time when you have children, especially young children. And I wouldn't want to undersell the amount of struggle that it is to be a parent of young children. I have 4 kids, ages from 9 to 1. And it is difficult. It is hard to find time for your spouse. There are things you will have to give up. But in most cases, the giving up of those things is an improvement on the identity which we were claiming in the first place.
Parents.
And then I found the subreddit, Regretful Parents.
Regretful Parents.
Regretful Parents. Regretful Parents subreddit, which has always been kind of a fascinating subreddit that I try not to read too often because it makes me sad.
The second quote from the article I want to take a look at says this. This person is giving up their life goals, and they say, "I gave up everything I liked about my life to make children fit into it." Now, it is true that I gave up basically playing the drums. I almost never do it anymore, but it is within the realm of possibility that if you have a spouse that is willing to undertake some of the household responsibilities with you, as Brad Wilcox would say, is the way that you have the most enjoyment and satisfaction in your relationships, then you can make concessions with one another. And I can say, honey, I'm going to the gym. I'm going in the morning before the kids are awake. That will happen 5 times a week. And that's just something we're going to sacrifice for as a family. And if you have a supportive spouse, even if your spouse is unsupportive, you can simply ask for what you need, be assertive, and say, I need to go to this women's Bible study once a week because I need friends. Or I need to go even get a massage or get my nails done once a week because I recognize that those are things that I used to do when I had more time and when there weren't young children around. This is really just a misnomer of what it looks like to seek and assert yourself in ways that's healthy in a relationship.
Our age or older, I'm 33, we're more honest. I really would have opted for child-free. I'm so sick of hearing it over and over again. Oh, it's so rewarding, it's so great. Well, I'm sorry, but I see nothing rewarding about it. No sleep, no rest, no breaks, constant screaming, constant demands, no freedom, starving all day because no time to cook anything other than what the kids want, cleaning literally all damn day, working all day, and then tending to kids right when you get home, headaches all day, yelling all day, guilt all day, and watching your friends who are not as stupid as me and didn't have kids live their lives and are so happy while I sit and cry every day wishing I had made better choices with my life.
The third quote from the cut says, I don't feel anything for him. And I believe that this is in reference to the spouse of the young lady who's being interviewed. And that might be true because people develop differently as you have children. It is very possible to lose feelings of affection because so much of your necessary energy is being cast onto these little beings that require a lot from us. And all of the physical touch, all of the ways that your love languages might be asserted between you and your spouse might actually be met by the kids. In a great many ways, your energy, your love language will be basically sacrificed to the kids. And so if you don't take time to have intimacy with your spouse, to have time where you support one another in trying to build and multiply what's good about one another, it is possible for you to not feel anything for him. But that also is not a forever proposition. There are times in marriages where you will feel less compelled to do some of the little things that make a marriage work. Do it anyway. Fake it till you make it, because it is a self-fulfilling prophecy. You will have more feelings of positive emotion when you do positive things with one another, when you connect, when you have quality time, and then your motivation to continue to do those things will increase.
The days when he finally leaves my home. If I could afford boarding school, I would. It's school holidays, so this week I'm taking him to a water park, then to football practice, and then to the air show. None of these things I would personally enjoy. I genuinely don't enjoy my son's company at all.
Another quote from the article says, I am not the parent that my son needs. This is absolutely some of the feelings of inadequacy that we all experience as a parent within our relationships. What you have to realize is that you might not feel like you're the parent that your son needs, but you are the one that he has. And so if you're not quite the person that you think would be best for him, make yourself into that person. Find the motivation. Do the little things. Begin the deep cuts that are necessary in order to make yourself into that person. I'm not the parent my kids need either, not all the time. I wish I were better. I wish I had less bouts of anger or frustration. I wish that I were better at teaching them how to fix and build things around the house. Those are all things that require time, talent, and treasure that I often do not have. Do it anyway. Become the parent that they need, and you will feel so much more rewarded, because then you will be not seeing your children as a drag on who you are, as a reduction from your identity, but something that actually made you a better person because you sought to be a better parent and a better man or woman in this case in order to do what was necessary for them. Don't use it as a decline in motivation. Use it as a reason to pick up and try again. Last but not least, there are a couple quotes about faking it. So I just said fake it till you make it. Let's see why this doesn't work for these young ladies in particular. She says, right now he's very young, you can fake things. So faking enthusiasm, faking interest in what they're interested in, all that. And then the next one says, I can only fake it so much. Don't we all feel like imposters at some point? If you let that habitually put you in a negative place because of how you feel like you're an imposter for your kids, I have good news for you. We all feel this way at times, and it is up to us to not let that prompt declines in our motivation and prevent us from doing the little things. I hate Paw Patrol. I have not liked it for a great many years, but at least the episodes that aren't totally lib, my kids were interested in for a great many years. Having a small child after small child in our home, we had Paw Patrol on for 6 years straight. I faked an interest in it because it's what satiated my kids for a couple minutes a day. That is something that you will have to do if you're going to be good at being a parent. There is some amount of just being there, and they don't need your enthusiasm all the time. What they do need is your presence. Take some of the pressure off of yourself and just try to remain present and in the moment with them. And you don't have to be good at it. They just want you there in most cases. Lastly, I want to show you some facts from the General Social Survey that took place between 2018 and 2024, which it belies a little bit of how this article is missing the mark. Now, you can just say they just interviewed 3 people or 4 people and they weren't trying to make a political point, but that would be bullocks. They absolutely want this anti-natalist, anti-family movement to be pressed further, and don't be naive about what the press and the journalists are trying to do here, especially the way and the framing that this article was written in. However, from Brad Wilcox's study on the General Social Survey, he says that young married moms are the happiest. The percentage of women, and this is just a survey data, right? This is a very broad survey that is representative of the populations they're taking the survey from. It's not biased, at least in as much as it could be an unbiased survey. This is it because it's just generic, right? The percentage of women ages 22 to 35 that are very happy by marriage and children. Married moms, 41%. Married that are childless, 38%, unmarried moms, 18%, and unmarried and childless, 14%. Of course, when you have a child and you're no longer married, that can lead to lots of feelings of negativity. Of course, when you're unmarried and childless, though, you're even less likely to report that you are very happy. This is because exactly what we said with the first premise is this indicates that meaning and purpose is embedded in child rearing, and you become a better person and a better individual when you have children, because adaptively and instinctively they force you to be. They compel you to be because you want to provide for them. And that anxiety, the feelings of negativity and imposter syndrome that you're feeling is your brain and body telling you to get better because your children need you. If that is not enough for you to begin to develop some of who you are in a way that would benefit your children, shame on you. And the young ladies in this article I have great empathy for, but I do not understand lacking motivation to pick up the first boulder and move it asunder so that you can begin to be a better parent. That is what is missing and necessary here. But instead, TikTok and Instagram will tell you, they'll show you travel blogs or vlogs of some creator, some influencer, and it'll look so sweet and gentle and peaceful. The truth is, those people who are unmarried and childless represent that they report less very happy moments than almost anyone with kids. Even the ones that are unmarried moms with kids report that they're very happy at a greater rate, 4% greater rate. So the fact is, children increase happiness. They're challenging. It's not easy to be a parent, but children increase happiness. Don't let the journalists paint you into the corner in this way. You must consider them a blessing that will make you happier. The survey data represents that. And if you would like to represent with me a future of faith, fatherhood, and freedom, I would love your support. Thanks for watching to the end, and please subscribe if you'd like.